Elon Musk just became a trillionaire. Technically, he owns a capital S startup, which begs the question, does a tech startup actually start in a tiny depressing room under flickering fluorescent lights with a single cup of cold coffee? Or is that just a romantic lie sold to the middle class to keep us grinding, while it actually takes millions of funds just to survive in the tech market? Well, I am here to test it out. So, what are we building to disrupt the global economy? Well, a fitness app, because clearly the world doesn't have enough calorie trackers. However, here, instead of paying 200 rupees a month to an app that yells at you for eating a single potato chip, I'm building a solo, minimalistic, vanilla JavaScript app to track home workouts, to suggest home workouts, and to also suggest calories for bulking and cutting phases. For a bulk, we add 200 calories. For a cut, we subtract 200 calories. It is beautifully simple. Well, simple other than the fact that it is simply an API wrapper that no one is ever going to pay money for. Let us ignore that for now. Okay, now let me showcase my great app. Well, first of all, I would request all of you to please ignore the 1950s styling because I have not added any UI styling through CSS yet. I have added CSS styling, but only for the formatting for the time being. Now, first of all, you have to add your own stats. So let me add mine quickly. When you're given the option to choose your activity level, I'm going to be choosing the light option. You can choose anyone depending on your activity level. Then you can choose your experience level. Then you will be given 3 options to either bulk, maintain or cut. I will choose bulk according to my goal. You can adjust according to your goal. Now, immediately what it will give you based on the code alone, your maintenance calories, which in my case comes out to 2418 calories. It will give you the data for a light bulk, for a moderate bulk and for a heavy bulk, which we have adjusted according to general formulas that I found on the internet. Now it will take some time to analyze your profile since we are using an API, and due to the traffic on the API, it does take a little more time. Let's see how long it takes. It generally takes about 40 seconds. Oh, it came here. Okay. So first of all, it gives an assessment of our profile because that's how I adjusted the prompt in the code. I will show it to you in a while. It also answers the question that are you too frail or weak to work out? It says absolutely not, and it gives a pretty thorough explanation of everything. Let me give you a full overview of what it says. According to the tokens I've adjusted, it's actually pretty big. Now let's look at it in a little more detail as one user would be. First of all, it talks about essential advice for bulking. It gives these points, and these are pretty important to be followed so that one can work out effectively. Then it gives a home workout plan for bulking with a minimal equipment because again, this is a home workout plan. It tells us the equipment needed and also tells us optional things, but which are highly recommended. In this case, the resistance bands. It gives its schedule and then each workout it gives in detail. There is the one workout A, workout B and workout C. I feel these are pretty effective. Again, as I said, it is simply an API wrapper, but I feel it's pretty useful actually if someone decides to use this. Then it talks about progression and when to adjust. It concludes by telling us about these things, just concluding factors that might affect someone, and again ends with a very beautiful line that remember, consistency with both your training and nutrition will be the driving force behind your progress. Good luck on your bulking journey. I feel it is pretty effective. Again, as I said, it's simply an API wrapper, but I'm pretty happy with the results that it gave us. Now let me showcase my code for this particular web app. First of all, starting with HTML, which is pretty simple. Okay, first of all, I have created one div which I have named ID container because remember that there were 2 pages. So instead of using anything else, I just used one simple thing, that container 1 and container 2. Then when we're working on the first page, the display function of the container 2 will be none and this one is flex, and while we tap on bulk, cut or maintain, it will be vice versa. Okay. First of all, over here I have also formed class groups which are called form group because these were essential for formatting, which I will show you in the CSS later. And these are just all of the information that you need to input, starting from your gender. Over here you also had your age, then height, weight, activity level, and these take a look at these values. These values will be important later for our formula. Then we have form group for experience and then for goals. Okay, And finally, we have the second container, which here there is not a lot of work. It's simply the back button, which is pretty simple. If we just want to go to the back button, again, that same logic I have used for this for display flex and display none. And these are only the IDs that I will need through JavaScript to add the values from there. In CSS, as I already told you, I've not added anything much. These are simply needed for the formatting. Over here, the form group, which I told you about, this is for making sure that the elements are stacked on top of each other instead of side by side. It took a little bit of work to get this done, but eventually I got it there. I also had to take help of AI. Then these are just simple things. I haven't added anything much, but just the basic things, so it looks good enough. Yeah, this button hover thing I took from AI. It actually looks really cool. I hope you remember. I can show you once again. Okay, no, I've closed it, but it's fine. Then we have the main code from JavaScript. First of all, we are just accepting all the values by document.getElementById for weight and for some of the other ones, including age and I guess height. I've used number property and the plus sign to actually get the numeric value out of the strings. Then first of all, I have used this formula to calculate the BMR. 10 into weight plus 6.25 into height plus minus 5 into age plus 5. It is one formula for male, another for females. Then I've multiplied that with activity. Remember the values in the activity I showed you in the HTML. This is where they become relevant. And then we display the maintenance. After, of course, doing that maneuver with container 1 and second container, as I told you. Then based on the goal chosen of bulk or cut, we simply add or subtract the calories and showcase a light, moderate or heavy, bulk or cut respectively. Again, simple enough and nothing to do for maintenance because you're maintaining. It's just the maintenance calories in that case. Then comes the main function for the API calling. I have created one function with this many relevant parameters. Then I have made an async function as we do for calling an API. And in this try block, I have written this prompt. You can take a look at this prompt. I have tried to make it pretty thorough so that we can get a pretty accurate response. I feel it works. Then I've used the Gemini API. Obviously, I've hidden the API key, but this is just simply how the Gemini API works with its format. Then I'll accept, and as you can see, I've given the max output tokens as 8192. As I told you earlier, I have bumped up the output token so that it can give a big response. Then I simply accept it. I've used this console of log for my own sake so that I could check while I was making this. Again, this same thing, I am under the water for an error so that I could check how it was working. And then simply the back function. This is about the code and this is how it works. I hope I was able to showcase everything properly. I will add the GitHub link of this in my description so that any one of you can take a look at it if anyone wants. Otherwise, this will be it. I would like to add two features to this. The first being styling, obviously, as I already told you about. And the second being local storage, because right now what happens with the app is whenever I reopen it, the previous data gets away. It gets deleted. So I want to add local storage to this so that the previous data can stay, because that's natural for an app like this. Other than that, I will move to another project soon. So thank you all for watching this video. See you again.